Hello, and welcome to another acronymical episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Uptown Girl Catherine Weigel. I am a Tiny Habits certified coach. I have lost over 100 pounds, and with me today is Downtown Man.
Donald Weigel. Definitely a downtown man from the wrong side of the tracks.
Oh my gosh. I was listening to our daughter DJ's on the drive home from school.
Yeah.
She listens to, she's got some good taste.
I know, it's surprisingly good.
And then she, on one of the tracks was Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. I don't know where she got it from. I don't know how she found it on the TikToks. But it was really a throwback to like, I'm a downtown man and she's an uptown girl. Like that is some old fashioned.
We've probably just alienated all of our Billy Joel
There
fan
are a lot of people
listeners,
who like Billy Joel.
But man, that song.
It just doesn't go with her vibe. It just is kind of surprising. But
yeah, she has a general sort of like things are dark as her soul vibe when it comes to. But then Uptown Girl.
Yeah, I actually told her, I was like, I'm going to use that on an upcoming episode. She's like, please don't, just stop. Like, not everything is a Walt episode, but it is.
Yeah, so, no, it turns out it is.
Full face on you, because teenager we love.
That's right. Full face. Speaking of things from that time period from the 80s, yeah.
But hello, and thanks for listening to this episode.
Now that's a professional transition because when this episode drops, as the kids say, it will be about 2 weeks roughly until Thanksgiving.
It will.
And rather than wait until, the week of Thanksgiving when you've probably already got your plans, you've probably done your shopping, you've got, your recipes and everything's locked in, we thought we would give you a couple of weeks to let these tips and tricks and weird tricks sink in.
Yeah, like gravy on your mind. Gravy.
Mind gravy.
And guess what? You're probably like, oh, I bet Catherine and Donald are going to do a Thanksgiving episode the week of Thanksgiving. But I'm bedeviled with so many things to do, I'm not going to be able to listen to them. So I'm just going to miss their Thanksgiving episode. Well, guess what, y'all?
Yeah, surprise.
We're dropping the knowledge now.
Your Thanksgiving surprise starts now.
Ha!
Also, look, this is one episode of one podcast. We're not going to give you every tip, every solution for navigating the holiday season, but we have also done a whole bunch of other episodes about navigating holidays and large food-based family gathering meals. I will link to those in the show notes. And I would highly suggest that you spend the next 2 weeks just re-listening to all of them over and over again.
Stuff.
No, it is true. I'm being snarky,
and
but
by you
also,
I mean me.
But also semi-serious. Yeah. No, I forget stuff too. I forget. I'll listen to a podcast back that we recorded just to make sure there's no big giant mistakes in it, and I'll forget. I was like, oh yeah. I said that thing. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, and interesting. It's very interesting. Here it comes. I bet you're wondering if it's going to be interesting.
Everything you say is very interesting.
So I had posted in Wolt Place, We Only Look Thin Place, our online support group, about getting through like kind of a stressful October, lots of things going on, and that I wasn't really worried about the next month. And someone, let's call her Kristen, said,
because that's her name.
What about Halloween and Thanksgiving? And I said, I'm not actually that worried about Thanksgiving. And it was almost like a red herring, like, oh, well, I don't have a Thanksgiving problem.
Yeah.
And it sort of freed me from like, oh yeah, no, the rest of the year is going to be a breeze. But then I remembered like literally every weekend in October, I overate like 3 days, because weekends are 3 days, not 2 days, obviously.
Right.
But I'm like, oh, I don't have a Thanksgiving problem. But turns out I've got an all the time problem. And if you are listening to this episode, you probably have an all the time problem.
Probably.
We found some articles online about naturally slim people. What do they do with their time? On Thanksgiving, they might overeat. People overeat sometimes. They eat until they're too full.
Yeah, I don't need Thanksgiving as an excuse to do that.
No,
for sure.
But if you're a naturally slim person, Thanksgiving might be a day. It's literally called Thanksgiving Day on the calendar. If you look at a calendar in America, that's what it says. But we, as our own selves and the community listening, you probably have a Thanksgiving week problem.
Yeah.
You probably go in with like, I don't have time to listen to inspirational podcasts with uptown girls and downtown guys. I don't have time for that. I'm too busy testing recipes and perfecting my whatever Thanksgiving mousse recipe. Is there a mousse recipe?
There is a mousse recipe.
Like
yes.
not meat mousse, but like a chocolate mousse.
Not the animal, like the mousse, but the very creamy dessert.
Dessert.
It doesn't even have to be a dessert. There are savory mousses. Yeah,
many mousses.
Yeah,
mousses
and mises. And, yeah, I don't know what the plural of mousse is.
If you're listening to this, you probably have a Thanksgiving problem that takes you all the way to January 1st or 2nd.
Yeah, which I've done many, many years.
Yeah, if we give up and go like, well, it's Thanksgiving, and go, okay, oh, so much to do. It's a day. Christmas is a day. Hanukkah's a time, whatever. But if we give up a 12th of our year because, it's just too much to think about, we're going to be sad in January. And this episode is about trying to give you some tips and tricks and ideas to not be sad.
Yes, indeed. And, any podcast could give you like a list of 10 things.
But not us.
That you can do.
I mean, we've literally done that.
Yeah, no, we've done it many times. But we are going to do something special.
Yep.
And we're going to ask you to give thanks.
I thought you were going to say we came up with an acronym, so I didn't know we were going to give thanks. Like, I know,
Yeah.
I think you said that before, but should we try it again?
Okay.
So we're going to ask you to
give thanks.
And thanks comes in the form of an acronym. That's
Yeah.
right. That's why this is acronymical, because that's definitely a word.
So we're giving you a tip based on the first letter of the word thanks. Each tip is a different letter. Not the first letter, but each letter.
Yeah, we decided to leave out the giving part because that's too many words to come up with.
This episode would be an hour and a half if we did the whole thing.
It's already about an hour, so here we go.
I think we're into the first hour.
But I was like, I came up with the bright idea of like, let's make it an acronym. And I was like, I can't think of any words that start with T. Like, I can't think of one.
Well, there are no words in the English language that start with T, first of all.
Exactly.
You can't name one state that has a vowel in it.
Yeah. Change my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to give you some thanks, everybody. So get ready for the knowledge dropping of the things. And I'm going to go first.
You should do that. Now, what is the letter T? T in thanks.
The T in thanks is treat. Treat Thanksgiving as a day, not a month or a week or however long you stretch it out.
Yeah, we sort of already spoiled this one by saying it before we started, but I've so many times in my life looked at this time of year and just been like, well, I'm not going to hit my goals for the year, so I may as well just give up and eat whatever I want for the rest of the year and not have to think about it.
See, but what I would do, you sound kind of sad.
Yeah.
I would be like, this is the return to my true self. I'm going out in a blaze of stuffing glory.
Well, I think my sadness comes from like then January 1st or 2nd or 3rd hits, and I wake up and I think that I will be magically imbued with new powers.
Got it out of my system.
And instead, I've managed to put on, 10 or 15 or 20 pounds in just a month, which I can do.
Yeah.
And then I'm in a even deeper hole that I have to dig myself out of. And, it is one of those unfortunate truths that
starts with a T.
I know, also starts with a T, that it is so much easier to maintain a certain weight than it is to actually lose weight. Like staying in shape is a lot easier than getting in shape.
I know.
And digging myself into that deeper hole for January is not fun.
Right. So treat Thanksgiving as a day. If you're listening to this when it comes out, it is not Thanksgiving Day, everybody.
Yeah.
And so really work on focusing on your normal habits this week as much as you can. So I have many, many proofs that I can gain will gain 5 pounds in a week. And it takes me, let me tell you, my friends, more than a week to lose 5 pounds. So really treat it as a day and go into this week really thinking about it just being a single day and not a whole 20 1,000 calories a day situation.
Yeah, for sure. And then that takes us to H, the H in thanks, which is to have a plan. And that plan, whether it's for Thanksgiving Day itself or Thanksgiving week or the entire, sort of holiday end of year season.
Right, bookends.
Have a plan. And that is to, whether that plan is to like you're only going to indulge on Thanksgiving Day, or whether the plan is that you're going to try and, just maintain your weight for the rest of the year, or the plan is you're going to allow yourself like one treat a day, whatever that plan is, have a plan. Because when I don't have a plan, then I don't have a plan. No, when you fail to plan, you don't have a plan. I tend to just, whatever sort of comes my way, I just eat it. And then I'm all over the map and I feel lost and out of control. And I need to have some sort of plan, even if that plan includes more calories than I know that I typically, should have to maintain my weight. If I at least have a plan, it minimizes the weight gain damage.
Right. And I want to make a very big distinction in the letter P, which is not in Thanksgiving.
There is no P in Thanksgiving.
A promise is not a plan.
Yes.
I promise not to overeat. I promise not to whatever. Just making a pledge, which is another P word, is not the same as actually, like, okay, I'm going to pre-track, which is another P. I'll stop. I'm just so excited about the letter P right now. This is a surprise letter.
Yeah.
But doing I'm going to pre-track my breakfasts and lunches. I'm going to plan on having a protein in the morning. I am going to plan on anyway, I keep coming up with new P words and I'm really trying to avoid it, but this is about the letter H right now, and I'm taking this off fast.
Sometimes the universe just sends you the letter P and you don't have anything to do about it.
Yeah, manifesting it. But plan for accountability. Who are your accountability buddies right now? Do you have other people that are going to help you stay on track? Can you get your family involved with it? Make it so that you're setting yourself up for success instead of secretly just being like, well, I'm going to promise I'm not going to overeat, but really I'm going to just eat a quiche every morning.
Yeah, a promise is not a plan. And also saying I should is also not a plan. Boy, I should really XYZ. I should really get more exercise. I should really work on. That's not a plan. That's just like a wish and an intention.
Right.
It's not actually coming up with a strategy to get yourself through the season.
Right. So for me, accountability is a big deal because I am an obliger. So part of my plan is to actually check in with our accountability group each day and, have a plan for how many calories I'm going to have. I really my actual plan is to stay on track Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then I'm not super concerned about Thanksgiving because we're not hosting.
Right.
So we won't have that extra food, but getting right back on track on Friday. And, then that is my plan. And so that's H. H is a plan.
That sounds like a plan. So does that mean that A is accountability?
A could be accountability.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many A words.
I was trying to transition into you saying what A actually was, but it didn't work.
The A word here in thanks is avoid. Avoid foods that you don't love. So many times we just go into that grazing pattern of well, there are water crackers out. There's cheese on there's, cheesy dip with sausage in it for some reason. That's not what you're.
If I wasn't a vegetarian, I'd probably destroy a cheesy dip with sausage in it. But yeah,
cheese and sausage.
Okay.
But sorry. Okay, so avoid foods that aren't that 10 out of 10 value for you on Thanksgiving. So many times people bring all their favorites that might not be yours. And sure, maybe, for politeness, put a little bit on your plate maybe, but really know what is being served on Thanksgiving and go for the things that are the must-haves, the homemade pie that, your aunt makes or whatever. Go for that. Go for what you really, really love. And then just avoid the things that are just Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to get filled up on the cheese and crackers before dinner because I can't tell you how many times I do that, but I'm really hungry right now and I'm just going to have the cheese and crackers. And then I overstuff myself at dinner and then I'm sort of disappointed that I didn't get all the things I really wanted because I had the janky food.
Yeah, and I know you basically just said this, but phrasing it a different way is try to avoid that mindless grazing while watching other people cook or while you are cooking yourself, those sort of bites, licks, and tastes like while you're cooking, because if you're not really paying attention to what you're eating and focusing on it, even with things that I really love, sometimes I don't pay full attention to them and then I eat it and I'm like, wait a minute, it's gone. I barely even got to enjoy it, and then so I have something else. So really sort of sticking to those things that are truly meaningful to you rather than, the green beans in cream and mushroom soup. Like, well, maybe that is meaningful to you, but you eat that and you're like, oh, this is pretty good, but you're not like, oh yeah, but then, you've eaten, many hundreds of calories of green bean casserole instead of something that you truly care about.
Yeah. And two, in the avoiding part is avoiding sugary drinks that day.
Oh yeah. Try to watch drinking your calories in general.
Yeah. Because it does fill you up. It makes you more tired. And so don't do it. Just avoid things. Avoid.
Yeah, and I think, those drinking your calories, they doesn't satisfy your hunger, and so you're drinking your calories and then you're eating calories on top of drinking your calories.
Yeah, well, and it makes me calorically promiscuous when I have alcohol on an empty stomach because I used to starve myself and then drink, and then I would just plow through all the things. And you know what that is? Well, what it isn't, it's not neat. I'll tell you that much.
And that is the N in thanks. NEAT. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Or as we are changing it to slightly, non-eating activity
thermogenesis. Make it our own.
We've done a few episodes about NEAT. And essentially, NEAT is really, it's the most important calorie burning part of your day. It's all of the movement that you get throughout the day that isn't overt exercise. So you go to the gym, you go for a run, you do a sport. That's not NEAT. What NEAT is all of the, just walking from your office to the restroom or
on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all of that movement that you get. And this is a reminder to keep yourself moving, go for a morning walk. Don't just sit on the couch watching TV while other people cook. Like, actually get up, help, move around. Even things like helping with dishes or helping to like prep cook and things. All of that burns calories, and it may seem insignificant, but it really adds up throughout the day.
Yeah. And if you're staying with someone else, if you're not in your normal routine, I know a lot of people do the thing of like, well, if I can't do the perfect thing, then I'm going to do nothing. Or like you said, you're going to sit on your duff and watch the sports.
Don't say duff on a family podcast. Woo.
So go for a family walk. Get out a couple of times during the day. Enjoy the fall leaves.
Yeah.
Some people do turkey trots.
Do that.
And that is actually not neat, but it's neat anyway.
Some would say any trot I do is a turkey trot.
Yeah. Take a break outside. Go and, throw the foosball around.
Oh, yeah.
And also another neat thing to do, because a lot of times our hands and mouths are BFFs on Thanksgiving, especially with all the bites, licks, and tastes that you can do. Keep your hands busy doing other things. Do a puzzle. Our daughter broke out a puzzle yesterday.
Yeah, teenagers are so odd. Like, suddenly she's like, we used to have to, basically make her help us do puzzles. And suddenly she was just like, I want to make a puzzle out of, basically nowhere.
Yeah. So, but have a puzzle, do some sort of turkey type craft during the day. Have like a nail party where you're doing everybody's nails or something that. Because they have the press on nails that you can do now, the nail wraps.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
No, but keep your hands busy in alternative ways, because we know what happens when we just graze, and I tend to be full before dinner and still force myself to eat. And then guess what? Then I feel unsatisfied. And then I'm like, I need 5 more days of eating like this, eating all of the leftovers to make it worth it. And then I also find 5 pounds.
Yeah, that is very true.
So That was a neat thing to say, Donald.
Well, thank you. You said many neat things as well.
All right.
So what is the K in Thanksgiving?
There are no words starting with K. There just aren't.
That's true. Yeah.
I honestly couldn't think of one word. It's like when I go into a record store or a bookstore, I'm like, what do you want to read? I have no idea what music I like or what books are. I have no idea. And I just leave with.
Well, this K is for kicking it.
It is.
Because on Thanksgiving, you're kicking it. No, I don't know. I made that up.
Don actually did like a kick motion, like kick bad things to the curb.
When we were trying to think of K, I suggested kick your habits into high gear.
Because we're super fun. Okay, so this K is keep long-term goals in mind. Like we turn off often during this season.
Yeah.
We just pretend that we have no control, which is a C, but we pretend that we have no control over anything that happens. It's too busy. It's too chaotic, but really think about how that has served you in the past. Think about how just disconnecting from accountability, from your tracking app, not wearing your Fitbit. Think about how that has affected you in the past. Really lean into the habits that you know serve you during this season and keeping those long-term goals in mind. Just remember, we actually yesterday, we went out and to a place that could have been overindulgent.
Yes.
Because the last time we went there, I did overindulge and I ended up feeling sick. Yesterday, I kept my long-term goals in mind. I ended up having a salad. I had a small indulgence, but I felt great at the end of the day because I didn't, my stomach didn't hurt from overindulging. So keeping those in mind really does matter in all of this.
I was very proud of you. I was less proud of my own choices, but I did pretty well.
Yeah. But really keep connected to accountability, show up to the gym, show up to, your walking chums, whatever it is, keep showing up for yourself because when you don't, it's not good. There, I said it.
And it circles back to that, you're digging yourself into a deeper hole that you're going to have to try and get out of later, which is never fun for me.
Keep swimming, not keep digging.
And then S, we're finally at the end of thanks.
S is not for stuffing, everybody.
S is not for stuffing. S is for starving.
Oh.
As in, don't do it.
Yeah.
No. As in, I used to think it was a good idea to really starve myself either like Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
So that, I thought what I was doing was avoiding calories, early in the day.
To tank up later.
So that I would have calories available later. Or I would even starve myself, starve is sort of a relative term here, but starve myself for a couple of days ahead of Thanksgiving. And then just absolutely, I can't even, tell you how many calories I would end up doing, 5,000-6,000 calories in one meal, just because I just wouldn't stop. And allowing myself to become that hungry beforehand just is always a bad idea. So remember to eat a reasonable amount. Keep yourself to a level where you're not completely starving so that you don't then go into straight out binge mode.
Yeah, exactly. And for me too, that means having a protein forward breakfast and lunch, really sticking to foods that I know make me feel satisfied, fill me up, and don't make me exhausted. Because so many times I would either do that thing of I would just starve myself all day and then pass out on the couch at 6 p.m. and then go back for another serving at 10 p.m. And then I would also make enough food to last us another 4 or 5 days of full Thanksgiving meals again.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, why am I gaining? Why don't my pants fit anymore? Really focus on maintaining healthy habits. Thanksgiving is a meal. Sure, maybe it's a day or two, but really focusing on foods that make you feel satisfied really does matter. So don't go in starving because that just starving it doesn't balance out the universe.
No, and I know we're sort of finished with thanks, but as a corollary to what Catherine was just saying, don't give in to that food scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
This isn't your only opportunity to eat these foods. There will be other times where mashed potatoes exist. You don't have to fill yourself up till you burst because you think it's the only time you're going to be able to have it.
Because guess what? You're never going to get it all out of your system.
Right.
Like that's not a thing.
Yeah. Like that, the Breakfast Club where, or actually, no, it wasn't the Breakfast Club, but that old thing where you give a kid a carton of cigarettes and you make them like smoke them all because then they'll never want to smoke again.
Yeah.
But instead what you've done is made them, addicted to nicotine for the rest of their lives.
But
like you're just never going to be able to eat enough that this will be the one time you do it.
I'm stuffed on stuffing. Well, but the thing is, like when your parents did that to you with the cigarettes, it worked. Like, 'cause they never did that. They're wonderful people. They don't do that.
Yeah,
I think they listen to this podcast. We love you very much.
Yes,
and we're
we do.
Thankful for you.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Speaking of giving thanks.
Okay, so to remind you of all the amazing things that we've said, which is definitely what you do in the last paragraph
Amazing.
of an essay.
Yeah.
Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them.
Yeah.
Okay, so first.
Because the best podcasts are just like college essays
Exactly.
or high school essays.
Exactly. So, T, treat Thanksgiving as a day, not a week. H, I just lost my voice like Peter. I was going to say Peter Gravy.
Peter Gravy. Peter Gravy. That is a Freudian slip if I ever heard one.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
H, have a plan for the weekday. Include accountability.
A is for avoid the foods you don't love. And N is for NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Remember to keep moving.
Yep. And speaking of Ks, keep long-term goals in mind. Keep connected to support communities. And S is don't starving. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Starving. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Eat normally around there. Follow your normal eating patterns and enjoy and indulge, but don't overdo it. And part of that, and sort of in conclusion,
In conclusion, I am going to tell you what I just told you.
Exactly. But really look at it as something to indulge in, just like normally thin people do, but focus on what comes after. Focus on your long-term goals. Be a champion of your choices on Thanksgiving, because if we let this season take us over, we're going to do what Donald loves to say about digging that hole deeper and then being you're full of stuffing now and then regret for the next 6 months as you try to work off the weight that you've gained in this season. Really focus on what comes next. Focus on enjoying what you love, but you also enjoy feeling good about your choices. So we give thanks to you for listening to this. Oh, wait, should we do that again and do so we
give thanks to you for listening to this podcast.
Yay, we did it. No, you usually end with that.
So well done.
Yeah,
thank you. Yes, thank you very much. I am. I know we're being jokey, but we are sincerely grateful to all of you for listening to the podcast. It really does mean a lot to us that two kids sitting on their couch recording podcasts are listened to by people all over the world.
In their jammies. We're wearing jammies right now.
Oh, you didn't have to tell people we're in jammies, but we are in jammies right now. It
just makes us more like human when people are like, oh my gosh, I'm fanning right now.
We're
so like, they just
folksy.
wear jammies just like you.
You know what's really folksy is when you keep pronouncing the word champion.
Champion.
I'm not even sure you know how to say it the right way anymore.
Champion.
Yeah. But thank you so much for listening. We are actually truly grateful, for real. Mean it. And you can listen to all of our episodes wherever you found this one. We are on all or close to all of the podcast platforms. And also you can find us on our website at any time. All of our episodes are still up there for you at no additional cost on our website.
They don't pay for this.
I know. There's still no additional cost.
Yeah.
There's no cost and no additional cost. You can listen to them on our website.
Wait, are you getting paid for this?
No.
I never read the show notes, so I don't know what you're doing there.
Yeah, no, you continue to not read them. That's better for both of us. But you can find our podcast at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, you can click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place. This is a perfect time to join. You don't want to join in January when suddenly the group's all full of new year people. Well, you can please join then too.
Yeah,
but
no, you can join then also. Join now and then.
Yeah, join twice under two names just to see.
Yeah, set up separate accounts.
Yeah,
because you enjoy so much contributing to the group.
Exactly. But really join now for that extra boost of accountability. We're leaning in right now to give each other support before the new year, before, when things get tough, when you get overwhelmed, this is the perfect time to join. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly option with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you. Really, we do get an uptick at the new year of people joining. So this is the perfect time to join and really lean into that accountability when you need it through the new year.
And you can look down your nose at all of the latelys in January if you join now.
Please, come lately.
These are jokes. These are jokes. And I'm saying if you join now, that in January you can be like, oh, look at all
I've been
these
here
people
so long.
jumping on the bandwagon in
noobs.
January. And really, I think Wolt Place will be right for you. So give it a try. You can also interact with us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at We Only Look Thin. And you can also send us an email. We will answer questions. We love episode suggestions. We've taken many listener emails and turned them into episodes. And we would appreciate hearing from you. We also, if you just want to say hi and send us a compliment, that's pretty awesome too. And that is at weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you love the compliments, we would love to have them. So if you're in the mood, head over to Apple Podcast, leave us a rating and a review. I think we're over 550-star reviews now.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Duper.
And that really does help us out. That is if you're willing to give about, a minute and a half of your time or less, if all you're going to do is rate us. You don't even have to say anything, but give us 5 stars. Just say these 2 are great. And that really does help us out. It helps people find the show on Apple when they're searching for podcasts like ours.
Yeah, and speaking of following us and stuff like that, I noticed that we had a really big uptick on Instagram of people following us. So thank you so much. I don't post there as often as I might because I'm so deep in Wolt Place providing support, but I do love the follows, and I will follow you back if I can. So
yeah, but pretty soon you're going to be posting reels of yourself dancing to all the latest trends.
The talk ticks.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
Oh, you're not going to do that?
No,
okay.
that I will do anything for Wolt, but I won't do that.
I shouldn't promise it then. But another way you could really help us out if you got something out of this episode, we would appreciate if you would just tell somebody about our show. If you think you know somebody, if you're in a situation, if you're in an online group and you think that there are people there who might enjoy our show, giving us a shout out really helps us out. And it's one of the best ways in which the show grows.
It sure does.
So if you are trying to remember who the real Thanksgiving turkeys are, just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.
Hello and welcome to a. Wait, sorry, the bats threw me off. I got scared.
Can't say that every day. The bat's throwing you off.
Nope.